Saint of the Day. October 1st. Saint Therese of Lisieux. Virgin, nun, mystic, doctor of the Church. Born, Marie-Françoise Therese Martin. January 2, 1873. Alençon-Orne, France. Died, September 30, 1897, aged 24. Lisieux, Calvados, France. Venerated in Roman Catholic Church. Beatified, April 29, 1923. Pope Pius XI. Canonized, May 17, 1925. Pope Pius XI. Major Shrine, Basilica of Saint Therese in Lisieux, France. National Shrine of Saint Therese, USA, Darien, IL. Feast, October 1st. Patronage. Gardens of Vatican City, Missionaries, France, Russia, HIV/AIDS sufferers, radio care-a-thons, florists and gardeners, loss of parents, tuberculosis, the Rusicum, Alaska, Pasay City, Antipolo City, Philippines. Saint Therese of Lisieux, born Marie-Françoise Therese Martin, also known as Saint Therese of the Child Jesus and the Holy Face, OCD, was a French Catholic Discalced Carmelite nun who is widely venerated in modern times. She is popularly known as the Little Flower of Jesus or simply the Little Flower. Therese has been a highly influential model of sanctity for Catholics and for others because of the simplicity and practicality of her approach to the spiritual life. Together with Saint Francis Xavier, she is one of the most popular saints in the history of the Church. Pope Saint Pius X called her the greatest saint of modern times. On September 30, 1897, a 24-year-old nun lay dying in the Carmelite convent in Lisieux, France. She had done so little in her life that one of the sisters remarked that while she was charming, what would Mother Superior write about her at her death in the report she would make for the community? The question is amusing to us now. For the fame of this young nun would spread beyond the convent and throughout the Church with remarkable speed. 1 year after her death, her autobiography, The Story of a Soul, was published. Her devotees multiplied as miracles were worked and favor granted through her intercession. During World War I, French pilots carried a photo of her in their aircraft to protect them. In less than 30 years, in April of 1923, Pope Benedict XV declared her blessed, and in 1925 Pius XI canonized her and named her feast day October 3. Saint Pius X called Saint Therese of the Child Jesus one of the greatest saints of modern times. In less than a century, she had become one of the most popular saints throughout the world. A visage that reveals a great self-mastery. There is a popular iconography that represents Saint Therese in statues and pictures with ruby lips, rosy cheeks, and an expression of sentimental piety and sanguine sweetness on her face. I am not a fan of this school of art that represents the saints like fairy tale figures stripped of character. To know Saint Therese, it is best to contemplate her real face, since we are fortunate to have many pictures of her. When her sister Celine entered the Lisieux Carmel in 1894, she brought her camera and photography equipment. Although the camera was banned in many convents of the time as frivolous, Celine was permitted to pursue the hobby, and so today we have the 41 pictures in which Therese figured, either alone or in a group. What does the face of the real Therese reveal? It is a physiognomy that is delicate but strong, sweetly serene but intensely reflective, a face stamped with the tranquil acceptance of suffering and the life of the cross. There is the strong chin, the firmly set lips with a hint of a smile, a gaze that has lost nothing of its childhood innocence and, at the same time, reveals a person who views the world without superficiality or optimism. In the real face of Saint Therese, one sees the soul of the character and the self-mastery of a saint. Self-mortification the means to self-mastery. Looking at her sweet smile, it is hard to believe that it was a hard-earned smile that only a great self-mastery maintained through both the small irritations and great sufferings she endured in her short life. It is worth pausing a moment here because this kind of self-mastery, earned by mortification of one's will, is the exact opposite of what the modern world advocates. In various ways, we are led to believe that the strong and successful woman is the one who gets her own way, who makes a stunning career, who controls every situation. Saint Therese teaches something different. To write books of devotion, to compose the most sublime poetry is of less worth than the least act of renunciation, she wrote. That she had learned the value of small acts of self-mortification from the time she was young is evident throughout her biography. For example, when she was 10 years old, her father offered Céline painting lessons and then turned to Therese to ask her if she would like them also. Before she could answer yes, her sister Marie remarked that Therese did not have the same gift for it as Céline. She held herself back and remained silent, offering her great desire for lessons as a sacrifice. Later, in her autobiography, she remarked, "I still wonder how I had the fortitude to remain silent." She maintained this spirit in her years at Carmel. In the convent laundry of Lisieux, for example, she worked opposite a sister who would splash her with dirty water while washing the handkerchiefs. She refrained from her inclination to draw back and wipe her face to show the sister how much this annoyed her. This may seem very small, but the self-will is as well denied and curbed in small things as in great things, and sometimes more so when they go against the grain. Saint Therese explained this little way with simplicity and candor. Far from being like to those great souls who from their childhood practice all sorts of macerations, I made my mortification consist solely in the breaking of my will, restraining a hasty word, rendering little services to those around me without making anything of it, and 1,000 other things of this kind. The exterior demeanor influences the interior. In the face of Saint Therese, her lips are set in the way of one who is accustomed to keeping watch over herself, of smiling when she feels irritable or sad, of not allowing herself to be the slave of passing moods or fancies. From here, we learn an important lesson often ignored today by parents or teachers: the importance of the exterior demeanor as a means for controlling the interior. She used to tell the novices that out of respect for the angels we should always carry ourselves with dignity. She could not bear to see the least contraction on their faces, such as frowning. She told them, the face reflects the soul. So it must always be calm and serene. That holds good even when you are alone, because you are always in the sight of God and His angels. In her story of a soul, Saint Therese explained how she formed the habit of conquering her moods. When things that are irritable or disagreeable befall me, instead of assuming an air of sadness, I respond by a smile. At first, I was not always successful, but now it is a habit which I am very happy to have acquired. It was this habit that made her able to maintain a peaceful demeanor even during the horrible physical sufferings and terrible temptations against the faith at the end of her life. Her expression then was so serene that one sister doubted her suffering during her sickness and confronted her, asking her how she could keep the expression of joy on her countenance if she was suffering so much. "It is because of the very acute pain I am feeling," replied Therese. "I have always striven to love suffering, both small and great, and to give it a cordial welcome. Confidence, the weapon to fight discouragement." Someone might wonder, didn't Saint Therese ever become discouraged over her small failings and inability to do the great things she desired for the love of God? In fact, Therese had by her temperament a natural tendency toward discouragement. That she recognized this disposition is evident from the first of the 3 resolutions she made on her first communion day: "I shall not be discouraged." In Carmel, she wrote a beautiful prayer for a novice about humility. In it she said that she would wake in the morning with a strong resolve to conquer her pride, in the evening she would be discouraged knowing she had failed. Then she realized that this discouragement itself was but itself a form of pride, and this would make her more discouraged. It is the vicious circle many of us have experienced. Saint Therese explains how the dilemma was resolved. "Since it has been given to me to understand the love of the heart of Jesus, I own that it has chased all discouragement from mine. The remembrance of my faults humiliates me and urges me never to depend on my own strength, which is nothing but weakness. Still, more does this remembrance speak to me of mercy and of love. When with all filial confidence we cast our faults into the devouring furnace of love, how should they not be totally consumed? It was only confidence that could conquer discouragement and melancholy. What offends Jesus, what wounds him to the heart, she insisted to her novices, his lack of confidence. She did not permit this reliance on divine mercy and confidence in the goodness of God to allow any kind of passivity in the daily battle. Once a novice was bewailing her lack of courage. Saint Therese chastised her for the spirit that relies on the feeling of the moment. Where would your merit be if you fought only when you felt courage? What does it matter if you have none, provided that you act as if you had? If you feel too lazy to pick up a bit of thread, and you nonetheless do it for the love of Jesus, you have more merit than some great accomplishment made in a moment of fervor. Confidence in the mercy and goodness of God does not release us from the obligation to fight the daily battles against our faults. But in fighting those battles, Saint Therese found her support in it. It is confidence, and confidence alone, that must lead us to love. She used to say that it was not because she had been preserved from mortal sin that she had so much confidence. Even if she had committed every possible crime, she said, she would have the same confidence. She would feel that this whole mass of sins would be like a drop of water thrown into a burning furnace. For if we know how to lay siege to his heart, she insisted, we render him blind to our lamentable deficiencies. If we do all that we can, she said, and offer this to the good God, in his justice and love he will supply the rest. My way is all confidence and love, affirmed Saint Therese, telling us something we need to hear again and again, that we can never have too much confidence in the goodness of God. Like Saint Therese, we should not fear in these difficult days to ask Our Lady for everything, that she permits us to serve her in the defense of the Catholic cause, that we might be saints, that the Church might be restored, that her reign might come, that her Immaculate Heart be victorious.